time to apply the this detail. So since I don't know if I can use this, it's very muddy, but I can try. If not, then I'm going to use the lace around this part. So let's go ahead and select this. Oh, whoops, I already effed it up. I'm just gonna do this part for now and then select the rest on this side. There we go. So I'm seeing a little bit of a seam detail, so I might also add that in later. But for now, let us apply that detail. So I'm gonna go into drape and let's go ahead and make it a little bigger. I'm gonna copy that and then we'll start. Oh, actually, can I put it like this? Let's do it this way. So I want to just position it at the very edge. Actually, maybe make it a little bigger. But anyhow, add it to the edge of the fabric. I just want a smidge of it. I want to see it ever so slightly. Oh, merge down, paste. So this part will be almost not visible, just gonna have a bit of it. Okay, there we go. Probably squeeze it a bit more, make it. There we go. And then what I'll do is lock that in and we'll add a little bit of a highlight. And just add that in. So I'm just going to basically do that throughout this part here. Just adding in that lace detail to make the drape a little bit more interesting. I'm going to go ahead and remove that part and continue that down here. Oh, I have to warp it a bit better. Merge down and then on this side too. Let's do it this way. Make it almost not visible. Merge down, down. Let's do it like that. Let's do it like this. Merge down. Now onto this side. Let's do it like that. Merge down. It's gonna look like that. And we'll just line it. And on this side too, on the very edge. merge down. Okay, so all the lace has been applied. Now I'm going to go into each part of the lace and just kind of overall try to blend it to the draping. And maybe I can do a little bit of a highlight in the areas where the highlight is a bit more intense. I'm just gonna scribble it. Okay, so that works. I'm going to flip it now. So once I flip it and make sure that it reads well, I'm going to add a bit of seam detail. Just gonna take a little bit of time to flip it. Okay, there we go. Well, looks okay. Looks okay, so I'm gonna merge it down and even clean it up a bit. I want to try to bring this down a bit. Okay, bring it down and then go to drape 2. So now I'm going to start incorporate a bit of seam detail like this. Bring this over a bit. All it does is just to add an extra a bit of detail, and hopefully it makes it look a little more interesting. Onto this side. Also, I'm including a tiny bit of indentation in the seams. That way I think it adds that extra bit of interesting element. I just have to figure out how to highlight each seam so that it looks good. Let me go ahead and bring it, constrain it down. I'm just going to softly add in a bit of that background color. Ooh, I kind of like it. It's looking good. I guess I'm lucky this is one of those times where my ideas actually work out when I implement them. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't always happen this way. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Merge down, auto contrast it up, and that's good to go. Now, work on the belt element. So, I had this idea that, she's gonna be, her legs are obviously gonna be bound by lots of belts. So kind of like this. I just have to establish a general shape for it. Belt, I need to create a second layer for the belt, like the back of the belt. And also, I I don't know if it's too messy, but I wanted to have some of the belts kind of show up in the background. So, I mean, it could end up looking a little bit too much, but let's give it a try. We have to make sure that the belt in the background is placed strategically so that it creates interesting negative spacing, and it should also frame the character a lot better. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a few shapes. Like, I don't know, man, these belts are really long. But have to make sure that it frames her and also fills the background appropriately. Probably not there, but let's see, maybe I can do like maybe here and here. Let's flip it and verify the composition of the belts. And once the belts are good to go, then I'm gonna go into add details. It's not bad. Definitely not bad. I wonder if I can even add like a third and final layer like that. Let's go back here. Let's do I'm gonna go with this. Have to I don't know if I want to bring this up, bring this shape up. Let me. Well, I might remove this part. Might be a bit too much. Let's see. I'm gonna make sure this part is gonna be catching on with the light. Same with this. This definitely fills in the negative spacing. Another element I could use to play around with the composition and to fill in the empty area of the background is her hair. She's got like three ponytails. I mean, three braided tails. So I can see like where can I position them. Also, I might need to tone down the belts. Um, Maybe I can remove some of it in the background. I think I'll play around with that a little later. But as for the hair, we can also, I'm going to roughly decide where the hair is gonna go. I think what I can do is have most of the hair kind of go over her shoulder. That way it doesn't compete with the belts in the background. Yeah, I think what I'll do is that. I'm gonna do that. Like I could have her hair like over her shoulders or something. Where am I gonna put them? If I do that, then, you know, we can, I think it will look more interesting. Yeah, if I put it over her shoulder instead of it flying in the background. So that the background will be for the belts. And then I need one more thing right here. Maybe bring this belts. Maybe, yeah, I'm gonna remove that. Need something here to fill the empty void. Let's see. Maybe I can use the braids somehow. Yeah, I think I might need to use the hair to fill in the void here. Maybe they can... They can, like, do that. And then be like held by her arm here or something. I don't know. I'm just testing it out, see if that works. It is an option. Although I do think it looks better like cascading on her. Yeah. I have to figure something out for her on this side. Maybe I could put some special effects later on this side for her. Hey guys, welcome to another voiceover. So for this term's voiceover, I wanted to do a bit of a more focal view of the refining process. For that reason, I've already got a fair amount of it done. Usually I would record this part, which is kind of my starter uh, step for the piece, which I've already completed. Got my base color, shadow, and highlight, and a general idea of what I wanted to go for. So the character is Lulu from Final Fantasy. I remember I've gotten quite a bit of requests for her, but I've never had the opportunity to draw her. But you know what? Might as well. I'm kind of been on a black hair female character streak, so I'm gonna continue on with Lulu. The background, I wanted to go for something with interesting detail and lighting. So this background photo is actually of the roof. So I flipped it to make it look like the floor. That was interesting. Hopefully I get to keep it. Yeah, sometimes I end up not liking it, but hopefully I get to keep it. So got my reference for Lulu's face. Good thing, her side bang covers her eye, one of her eye, which makes it easier on me, because I think drawing one eye is easier than drawing two eyes. So yes. And so my idea for her was she's quite heavy on the straps on the bottom part of her design. I think I have a reference right here. So yeah. And also I was using this part right here as texture for the fur. So I'll pop back onto this every now and then because I will be copying this right here and using it. Don't want to start from scratch with this because this is a lot of detail, and I think I can focus more of my time on the vibe and the general composition rather than the fine details. But yeah, we'll probably go back and forth and grab some of this as well because like she's got some intense strap design. So we're gonna use her hairpins here as well. I'm not gonna paint this from scratch. I'm just gonna grab that and paint over it. And yeah, she's got some interesting design that I am going to try my best to see what I can do with them. So yes, actually maybe I could grab certain parts of her of this reference. Sometimes, oh yeah, she has a mole here too. I like to grab parts of the reference and just have it really close by when I paint. That way, I'm just, I don't know. I just like it really close by because for some reason, you know, I just like it having there. Okay. Alright, let me see what I can do with Lulu. And also, I like putting chokers on my female characters. Ooh, that choker looks real good on her. I might keep it. And also it frames her neck quite nicely, even though she's got other jewelry on her neck. But yeah, let's do our best here. Oh, she's got some interesting armband design, which I think I could probably incorporate somehow. But yeah, as you can see, I've already got the chest general lighting for it. But I need to solidify with my idea. So I did want to go for kind of like a light source coming from above and on both sides hitting her chest like a rim light. So that's the general idea. And sometimes, you know, I come up with an idea, I try it, and then I change the lighting anyway. So I'm just gonna go ahead, execute my idea, and if I don't feel like it's enough for the composition, then I might have to change that. So now, going back to the fur part, which I'm gonna try to figure out like what is the best placement. So on the reference, the fur is actually quite high up on uh her chest part. So just trying to figure out like what's the best placement for that. So after I am happy with the placement of the fur, I'm gonna grab the texture here and plop it on. But before that, we're gonna figure out what the fur placement is. The fur placement is rather high too, and it cups her quite well. Let's see what I can do. And I'm going to actually copy this part of her chest, bring it up a bit. I mean, it almost acts as a corset, so I'm bringing up her cleavage a bit. That's the fur placement I want. Let me go ahead and contour her chest a bit better. And then over here, remove that fur part. I'm going to merge down. I'm gonna remove the choker for now. That's my fur placement. This is my chest placement. Let's go ahead and give a bit more cleavage on this side. Oh, I'll lose a bit of pressure there. And just gonna take, oh, okay, go back to this layer. This is my chest layer. This is what happens when you don't label your layers like me, and I have to go back and forth. And then I also paint on the wrong layer sometimes. Ooh. Oh, wait, no, that's it, yeah. I'm gonna remove all the... Sorry, my headphones went off, but yeah, I have to clean up the layers and make sure, you know, the chest layer is in the proper layer. And then also contouring her bust a bit better. Oh. I had this idea of, you know, since her design is quite heavy on the belts towards the bottom of her skirt, she would be like without underwear, but it got some basic covering down there. I think it would look really cool. You know, I think the fur is pretty good placement. I'm just going to block in the sleeve part. And I believe this, you know, she's got corset there, so maybe I could play around with that idea, having a more sheer fabric there. Ah, play around with the fabric for that part. Might make it a little more interesting. Okay, so now I kind of reshaped the bust. I'm gonna flip the canvas and see how it looks. I'm gonna rotate the canvas. Um, Let me bring this down a bit. And also, oh, oops. I wanna bring this shoulder over a bit because I'm trying to balance it out a bit better. Oh boy. So balance it out a bit because it felt a little bit unbalanced on this side. Her shoulder looking a little, I'm not sure. Oh god, it's lagging. So I'm working with a slight lag here. Sometimes it happens when I record. So it's a little bit, just a tiny bit of an inconvenience, but it's okay. Let's add a bit of warm tone here. Actually, you know what? I kind of like it cupped like that. So what I'll do is gonna almost imitate what I had before. Sometimes it happens, you know, when you redo something because you feel like the old version was as good, and then your new version is like worse than your new. I mean, your new version is not as good as the older version, and go back in this case. So after I establish the fur, I'm going to basically merge everything down. And this is the part I'm gonna basically grab the texture because this is probably pretty time consuming to do manually, so I might as well use what she has on. And basically I'm just going to use this to help me with creating a nice fur texture trim for her top portion. Whatever gets me the best result, I'm gonna use it, as long as, you know, it's not like you slapped it on. I mean, I believe what they taught us was you have to change the form of it, transform it in a way to incorporate it into your works. But yeah, it's a nice texture to start, but I can see that a bit of work will be needed. Oh, it's lagging. Bit of work needs to be done on this texture in order for it to feel feel a bit more like it belongs in this scenario, because we're gonna have to go over here, blend that in, take a bit of highlight. Oh god, yeah. I'm just going to establish a bit of a rim light. Basically, I'm gonna also be cleaning stuff up. Let's go onto this side now. Let's go over here. And what I'll do, kind of want to bring the cleavage down a little bit like this. Might be a bit too much. Yeah, just keep it like that, I guess. Okay, now I'm just going to clean up the fur part a bit. before I apply the texture on the other side. And then as for the top, you know what I'll do here, I think? Kind of want to cut this into a separate layer under the fur trim. Let me do that real quick. So I'm gonna merge everything down. Let me just cut that. Cut it. So gonna have this on a separate layer so that, you know, it's gonna be a little bit easier to do the fur texture. And then I'll bring up this part, the sleeve. And then I'm gonna basically, let's do like a cool sheer top corset and have kind of like the boning for the corset. And I'm gonna go ahead, add a bit more skin tone over here to imply a bit of sheer texture. I mean, I could even have a bit of that on the sleeve right here. Ooh, I haven't done a lingerie design in a while. I used to do that so much. So there's like straps here, so I can incorporate that a little bit after. I'm trying to think how I can cut the arm part right here. Okay, you know what? Let's see what I can do here. Well, so for the arm, I will basically be using the shading I've already got on here, so let's do this. And I was like hoping that the sleeves would hide the arms. Probably needs a bit of different, maybe a little bit of a different placement. Yeah, something like that, maybe. I'll go back to the top. It's auto contrast. Oh god, Photoshop does not think that is not enough contrast for Photoshop. I'm gonna auto contrast anyways, but let's kind of remove some of this. Well, keep a little bit of what Photoshop did. I'm gonna go here. Oh, actually, I'm gonna use this texture right here. Actually, let's do it like this. And I'll just be using that on the top here. Let's flip it. And I'm just going to do the best placement that I can to wrap it the way I want. Let's reduce the opacity a little just to see what's going on. And remove the excess. Okay, let's merge down, and then I'm gonna take this part right here and we'll have it on the other side. Alright, so the textures have been applied. I'm going to bring down the, I guess it doesn't really look, look too great if I bring down the face. Probably because of the shadow level is a little bit too intense. Let me just adjust the shading to match what's going on the face. Need to adjust the collarbone too. Wow. Adjust the face. Adjust the face because you know, because the neck shading was a little bit too dark, and we have to basically adjust both the face and the neck so that both of them make sense and matches. Let's bring up the face up. Oh, whoops. Bring the face up a bit. Oh, actually, nope. Let me refine the neck part. Yeah, her neck was looking a little bit thick. Although I do have to admit, Lulu's neck looked pretty thick in the game. Or the promo picture, like, look at that. I mean, it works, but it is quite thick. I do think it would look better if it was a little thinner in my piece. So that's what I did. Now I'm gonna go ahead and basically clean up that texture around the fur to make sure it blends a little better into the piece, and also I'm going to adjust this part. I'm just going to remove the bulge a little bit. If the piece was a little bit more stylized, I would have kept it, but since we're going for more of a realistic look, tone down that curvature there. Let's blend our edit together. And of course, I'm gonna have to refine this part. Highlight the collarbone. Get a bit of highlight up in there. I'm just going to redo some of these areas. Bring this up a bit. And probably bring this line. Actually, should I? I'll bring it up a little bit then. Bring this down. Okay, merge down. Let's go over here. Let's add a bit of rim light on this side. Let's put in a bit of fold. And I'm gonna warp this a bit, bring up the arm. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have the cups on a separate layer. Cut that. It should probably be with the top layer actually. And just bring out the arm. The arm should be a little bit higher. I'm just going to redo this a little. Reduce a little bit to convey the positioning a bit better. Bring this over a bit. I'll do a little before and after I change it up a bit. I think I'll bring this shadow a bit over, like here. Let's add a bit of shadow. Emphasize her neck a bit more, and her neck is gonna be kind of long, but that's okay. I would like to give Lulu a nice, elegant, longer neck and probably contour it with a choker. That way it frames her neck. Oops. I didn't copy it entirely. So once it's framed, I think it's going to kind of do a little better, because now that it's framed, I can kind of go in again and readjust the shoulder parts. Okay, here it is. I'm going to take a bit of this color. Oh, wait, what? Why is it not? There we go. Let's add a bit of rim light here. I'm also going to adjust adjust the shape of her shoulder. And then let's go darken. I'm gonna readjust the rim light around her chest. I want to have a more clear rim light here, so darken that part out. Reformulate the lighting in there. Let me go ahead, select just a little bit of a brighter color. This is like the shading, the highlighting side, the shaded part, shadow part. I'm just gonna do like a rough kind of thing. And then we have the more intense highlight. I'm just gonna make it a little bit sharper. Make the highlight a bit sharper. And take a bit of this color. Or actually I'm gonna do a little bit of an overlay with that red tone. Might be a bit too much. just gonna put it at the bottom, add a bit of lighting towards the bottom of the fur. Actually, doesn't really look too good on the fur. I'm gonna remove it. Um, Let me bring back some of that lighting. Lighten. I think the highlight might need to be just a little bit lower like this. Bring that down. Okay. I'm just kind of experimenting with the lighting. I think that should do it. Alright guys, let's continue. So I did wanted to kind of bring her chest down a little bit to exaggerate how long her neck is. So this is what I have. That was before, so there was a pretty big difference. But I still kind of like how stretched her neck was. And the positioning of the chest part. So I was trying to do a little bit of a mix between the two. So that's why I kind of brought it down a bit. In fact, I think what I'll do is take a bit of what I had before and see if I can kind of do a little bit of an in-between. So let's say we bring it down a bit more. Do a little bit of a before. Oh shoot. So that was how it was before. This is what we have after. Oh. Okay. So with this, I'm gonna clean up the shading a bit. So Lulu, you know, she's got a gothic look, so I think it'll be okay if I kind of went for a more of a paler, fairer skin tone. Should be okay. So I blended this out, and this is the new one, the older version, sorry, not the new one, the older version. And so what I want to do is basically I'm gonna add the new paint over onto the old version. I want to see if I can maybe get something that I'll like between the older and the newer version. Oops. I just want to still retain like the old version structure, but have the new shading on it. So I'm gonna take this part. Well, that didn't really change too much, so I suppose that's okay. Merge down. Okay, let me merge down here. Oh, hold on. Let's grab this part. Lower the opacity so I can see what I'm doing here. Guess I can do it like this. So this is with the older frame on the new shading. I'm just going to flip it. Sometimes, you know, I forget to flip and work on a part a lot, and then after a while I flip it, and it's like, ooh, I could have flipped it earlier so I can fix these areas. So now I just flip them a little bit earlier each time, just that way we can have the best chance at spotting areas that needs fixing as soon as we work on them. Okay, maybe bring this up a bit. I'm gonna go closer. Let's render this part out. Gonna go in with a warm, fleshy tone on the pinker tone. I'm gonna highlight that elbow bone there. Take this tone. Gonna add it here. I just want a dab of that in there. Let's do this. Add a bit of highlight here and around this part. Take that tone. I'm just gonna go in refine the collarbone. Add a bit of blue tone here. Emphasize this part. I'm gonna adjust the softness. Take a bit of that. Let's do this. And we're just gonna go paint the smaller details of her arm fold here. Trying to get the right amount of shading here. to get the sharpness of the shadow here. A bit of warmness towards the edge of the shadow. Have a bit of highlight here. It's a little bit too bright, so I'll just adjust it. Take this color again. I kind of dulled it out a bit too much. Let's add a bit of shadow. Let's go here and basically do the same. Oh gosh, this part is really messy, and there's so much lagging here. So I refined it, but in the process of refining I lost a lot of contrast and details that I had before. So this happens quite a bit, you know. When you go refine stuff, you lose a lot of the interesting parts that you had before. So I'm just going to kind of bring back some of the old parts that I liked. Or I guess I could just grab some of the older colors and put back some of those areas that I had previously. Let's do that. I'm just gonna add a bit of warm tone to the neck part. Let's do a bit of a contrast here. So this is what we have now. I'm gonna flip it again and hopefully that's what I want. Okay. I'm going to go ahead, add that part back. Maybe I should do this. Maybe this would be better in terms of shading. I might need the highlight on the top as well. Maybe adjust the shading. Bring it, have it go that way a bit more. And I'm gonna bring back a bit of this. I think maybe the lighting would be more dynamic this way. Anyhow, I think I'll go with that. I'm just gonna darken this part of the fur and then just have it a bit brighter towards the bottom. That way it creates like a rim light. And it's looking a little rough. I'm gonna add the texture back a little bit later. Bring it up a bit more like this. It's a bit too, the tone is a little bit too warm. So I'm going to go into color and add back a bit of the cooler tone. I remove some of the warmer tones. Let's do auto contrast. take a bit of this color. Okay, let's call it here and just merge everything down. Go to the arm layer and we'll apply the color we have and just bring it down. Adjust the face. Let's go for the hair now. I'm gonna have to grab this real quick. Gonna need like 2 references here. So let's see. I guess we could have a very obvious light source towards the top of the hair and maybe on the side part of her hair. So I'm just going to add some basic texture for the hair. Her hair isn't too complicated. Okay, so she's got a bit of layering on the hair part. And in fact, it should be a little bit closer, like this. Grab the ear, bring it down. It's a little bit closer to her face. Ah, this is looking a little weird. I think I need to have it a little bigger. Yeah, it's looking weird. Let's go back to before. I'll just... Nah. Okay, let's go with that. And I'm gonna create another layer under here. It's gonna be the hair layer. give a bit of volume to her hair, kinda. Let's get a bit of hair highlight going up here. Multiply. Just need to make her face a little bit darker. I'm just going to bring a bit of highlight towards the bottom part. Adjusting the light source to coming from below. Not sure. Should I go with the shading? I usually do like a super rough job. Like, it is quite messy. Let me do a little bit of this, and I'm just going to go around and basically paint all my edits on one layer and then apply that to individual layers after. So Lulu's got like a purple tone lips. Okay. Well, this is not too bad. I'm just gonna continue to adjust this a bit. Bring her chin up a bit. I just look at the small preview and at this preview and I'm gonna borrow some of that color. And adjust the proportion while I do the lighting change. I'm going to add a bit more contrast to the lips. Let's make it a little bit more purple. Oh, that's a bit much, but I'm just gonna lower the contrast. It needs to be, yeah, like that. A bit duller. Merge down. So before, after. And needs somewhere. Let me take this color right here. Needs more color there. I'm just looking at the placement of the hair there. Let me remove that for now. And there's like a few layers, so just going through each of the layers. Probably could use a bit more hair around her jawline. Maybe have a peak of her ear too. Sharpen the lip. Okay, that's sharpen. Let me give her eye a bit more, bit of a red tone there. Change the angle of her eyebrows. Add feather on. A bit more eyelashes. Doesn't read as well. I kind of like how it was before, so I'll just remove it. Remove a bit of the paint over. I can just keep a little bit of that. I'll add her beauty mark later. I think, yeah, it's getting there. I'll just rotate her face a bit more. Rotate that face. so it's tilted. Yeah, this happens quite a bit. Sometimes I would paint the face tilted, so tilt it, re-tilt it, like that. Okay, yeah. It's looking not too bad. So this is the paint over. Now I'm gonna basically cut, just gonna merge down the paint over to the layers. Okay, that works. This chest is a little bit too small compared to the other chest. I could do a little bit of just adjust it a bit. Adjust it a bit. What if I gave her like a mesh arm additional part here and implied a bit of, let's imply some finger on this side, and let's have this imply a bit of finger on this side. Maybe it needs to be repositioned a bit more. Yeah, I'm just kind of going about playing around with the positioning. And also just testing out different parts. Seeing if, might look better. Might look a little better with flip different way and whatnot. Would it look better if I flip it this way? Oh, whoops. Alright guys, so I kind of like this new change with the hips flipped the other way, but just in case, I'm going to do a little bit of a, so before and after. Or before. Could even be like an animation, I don't know. But yeah, this is the change. I think some of you might still like the before, but I think this could be better, but just in case, what I'll do is I'm going to just widen that sleeve for a bit. And as for the drape, I'm getting all types of ideas now that the hips are the other way. I'm getting like a cascade of drapes in all directions because of this slight change. But before I do that, I'm going to just edit the bottom part here. Let me just adjust slightly. So I got that. This is the belt. So right now, the bottom part doesn't read too well because of the background is dark towards the bottom area, so we have to brighten it somehow. So I'm just gonna place a filler color here, just to brighten the bottom part because her clothing is quite dark. We have to, in order for it to read properly, this is what we gotta do. And I had the idea, so this is kind of her skirt. I cascade down like this typically. Okay. So what I had in mind was, for that to work, I'm gonna have to darken the sleeve up here. And where's the drape? Okay. For the drape, it has to be a little bit less dark to sell the distance. So what I had in mind was that, it's gonna cascade like this in a nice fan pattern here. Like this. And of course, we have to brighten it or else it won't read very well. Bring it down a bit. Maybe move this. Let's rotate her a little bit. Let's move this a bit. Okay, now rotate back. If I do the fanning composition for the bottom drape, it can also kind of fill the empty spaces in the canvas. So that's also a consideration. Okay, I might have tilted it a bit too much. Cut that part only and readjust the chest. And after that, readjust the bottom part. It's the bottom, and then the belt composition is gonna have like a composition where the belt's wrapped around her and going in all directions. It's just like a framing device, and it's gonna converge right where her leg is at. And same for the fabric. So I'm gonna be basically using a lot of texture now from this to work on the fanning composition for the draping, because it's gonna be very heavy on texture, and I wanna, you know, save on time and quality, so I'm gonna be using that texture to help me sell this. And I might find some more lace textures later too. Let me think. Let me play around with this fabric here. Like, for example, how high can I make this? And will it work if I make it a bit higher? Almost making it look like spider legs. But the point, what I want to achieve is just to cover the canvas a bit more, you know, since it's a little empty when I first had it. Maybe we can have like a pretty bright lighting towards the proportion of the fabric. I have a bit of a shadow there on that part, and then for the draping, let's have a bit of a highlight towards the bottom part. This is like a bit of a, oh gosh, the leg. I don't like the leg. But it gets a rough point across of what I want to achieve. So yes, like this. Okay. And perhaps I need to add back some of the color up here onto the bottom. So I'm gonna, like that, let's lock it down. And I did want to do like a semi-nude, so let's give her like a cute little pasty down here. I'm going to add some of this lacing detail down there, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And we'll just do a little bit of rendering down here. I'm gonna use pretty saturated tones. Oh, darn. Why is there... Okay. So, okay. I'm just thinking about the lighting, how I'm going to do it. So, let's do quite saturated tones on this leg, but a little bit of a duller tone on this leg. Let's bring it, add highlight there. But I want to keep this leg kind of not very saturated. Let's go for more of like a dark purplish shadow on this leg. And then add the legging part. And I want to make sure this leg is pretty saturated. the highlight there. I want to make sure this part is quite prominent. Add a bit of bone, yeah, the hip bone. It's like adding a bit of bone. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sometimes I don't fail to finish my sentence when I'm focused like this. There we go. I'm going to name this belt. Remove it for now. I'm going to basically, let's just paint this first. But most of her leg will probably be covered in belts. Where's the arm layer? So that's the arm layer. Take a bit of that. I'm also going to have a little bit of rim light on the sleeve part. Okay. So there's a rim light towards the bottom part of the sleeve. Let me just make those a little bit brighter. Add rim light to the arm sleeve. Let's go back to the bottom layer. Oh, what? Okay, let me just blend it in. Okay, now we're gonna rotate it back. So we're just gonna constantly rotate it. Flip it back and forth just to make sure that there's no major parts that are not working, basically. Ooh, it's taking a little longer to flip because I have more layers. Alright. Okay. Ooh, finally flipped. Okay, so in general, there's no major flaw. Although I think I need to move the belly button a little bit more in the center now. And also, I'm gonna take this leg right here, copy paste, darken it up a bit, and I'm gonna add let's add slightly less saturated tone to it. Mm. Let's go ahead and add a bit more shadow towards this part. I need to darken that part because I need to sell this part a bit more. So making it a little bit more saturated and warm so that I can have a nice contrast between dull color and more saturated fleshy tones. I'm just kind of trying something new and really thinking about tones too, because what I want to do here is after that I'm gonna have a very intense highlight around this area. So in order to make my highlight pop I'm gonna have to make sure the surrounding areas are dull, so I'm just what's it called, preparing for that. Same with this part. So I'm gonna try my best to do the leggings here, although this is kind of her legging lace design here, which I will be grabbing later, but just as a guide, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Okay, so this part, you know, is the transparent part, and that part underneath will be like dark. I guess I'm gonna paint boots on her. Let's add a bit of a shine, like a basic shine, nothing too crazy. And then I'll go back here and basically do, oh wait, what? Oh no, I painted this on the wrong layer. Let's go back here. Before, after, merge down, okay. Add a bit of highlight. So yeah, this part is the part that is okay. Maybe I will bring this curve up. Merge down here. Let's do a little auto contrast. Alright, Photoshop thinks that that's good. I'm glad. So this is enough contrast for me to work with based on Photoshop. Okay. Might grab a bit of texture for the leg after, or not, because it's gonna be covered by belts anyways, but let's just do it like that. Okay, so time to grab that texture there. Let's darken it. This is not enough, so I'll just kind of flip it. Save real quick. I'm gonna flip the texture and create a bigger one so that I can cover the whole leg. Kind of looks weird. We'll do something about it. Okay, let's go with this. I'm gonna duplicate this, and it'll go on the other side too. Alright, yeah, like that. And me delete that. Okay. Merge it down. So now we'll do some adjusting to match the lacing to what we have. Hold on. We'll just do a little bit of a paint over. Let's bring this over. Okay. Merge that. Clean up the surrounding silhouette. Okay, that works. So now, oh wait, before that, just paint that in a bit more. And let's go ahead and work on this undie part. So, let's do like a sheer design. That's kind of trying to do like a boning type thing, like her top before the bottom, and then finish off with a bit of texture or design from this. Well, I suppose it didn't. It kind of looks a little messy. We'll have to do something about that. I'm just gonna flip it so I can do it like that. Okay, that looks slightly better, but still is not completely good. Looks like it needs to be cleaned up a bit more, so I'm just gonna clean that up. Attach the two straps. Before I finalize this, I'm gonna flip this one more time. I think this part could be a little darker actually. Like, why does this remind me of a carousel? Probably need to adjust it a little bit, adjust the positioning a bit. I'm going to rotate it one more time. We have to rotate many times. So I'll just wait a little bit. Okay, yes. It looks like it's in the right position, except for this part might need to be adjusted a bit. So what I'll do is copy that part and then bring it down. Let me darken this part. blend this out a little bit. Let me take this darker color, bring it down, bring down that dark color a bit so I can emphasize on the highlights a bit more. Merge down, let me create a new layer and bring some of that color onto this leg now, just a bit. Like that. And I would like to experiment with something, so I wanna kind of darken this leg really. I mean, not darken, but add more shadows, but some saturated shadow. And then I want to, hold on, use like an unsaturated highlight on the other side. If I do that, it can bring a bit of, push back that leg a bit more from this leg. So yeah, I think I'll be doing that. And I can even add a slight bit of rim light right here and even under the underwear a bit to emphasize on the pushback of distance there. I'm just gonna clean up this part. Oh, hold on, I wanna do it so it looks a little tighter. And I'm gonna go over here and add a bit of a rim light like that. Okay, let's merge down now and do a little bit of auto contrast again. Okay, nothing happened, which means that this is the optimal amount of contrast. I need to reposition this or paint over it a little bit so that it matches. I need to clean this up a bit. I'm just gonna do a little bit of a clean up here. Let's take that, copy, paste. Merge down. Okay. Let me flip her again. Just gonna make extra sure before I proceed next. So right now I am actually happy with the amount of contrast that's happening. Okay, so far so good. Maybe, you know, this part could be moved a little bit that way, this way. I'm just gonna do that. Okay, I'll bring it up a bit. Okay, that seems fine. Okay, merge down. Actually, I have to work on this part a bit. Bring down the hip on this side, bring up the hip on that side. I have to readjust the positioning for the legs to really sell the hip movement there. And I might have to redo the belly button a bit. Save. Redo it to make it a little darker. And also bring it down a bit. Let me copy this part. Oh gosh. Bring this down. Bring it down a bit more. Well, this part needs a bit of detail work, so it's gonna be kind of a two-part in this. Two-part highlight and shadow. This part highlights the belly, and that part and this part highlights the crotch. Get a bit of that in so that it makes a bit more sense, you could say. Might need to kind of tone down that saturation. Alright, so now what I'll do is I'm going to flip again and make sure it's proper this time. Alright, let's actually let me clean up the straps here. Just gonna blend that out and clean up the silhouette. Now let's render out the arm layer. So what I'll do is I'm gonna have a different layer. I'm just gonna brush on behind the sleeve a bit of brighter color so I can isolate the sleeve part. Go back to the arm. Let me remove that. So I'm gonna be reworking the sleeve and kind of adding this lace detail in. I'm going to be putting down some highlight and also keeping in mind that I have to put in highlight inside the shadow as well, or rim light. But I just wanna do like the basic shape for it. So this is like my basic sleeve shape. So after I get the sleeve rendered out a bit more, I'm gonna add in the lace detail. God damn it. That was a loss of pen pressure. Oh gosh, yeah, it's really bad right now. It's really bad. I'm just trying to see. Not not a big fan of the shape that I have currently. So I'm just thinking, what can I do to make the shape a little more interesting? Maybe I can fan it out towards the back. So yeah, I'm always kind of thinking what I can do here. I guess I can let's try to do this. That's not too bad actually. It's lagging a little bit. Oh, there we go. Merge down. So now I've got a bit of a clear idea of what I'm trying to go for. I'm gonna go back in and really, I'll try my best to, oh man, it's not working. I'm trying to create a bit more of a curved, do a bit more of a curved, curved composition for the sleeve. Just trying to get that. So now I'm going to copy, paste, and do a little bit of a auto contrast, and then really emphasize this tone right here, which is more of a yellow tone. So I'm going to add a bit more highlight there, tone that down. Let me go ahead and clean up the sleeve here. Add highlight to correct the highlight, or I should probably say correct highlight, since I need to contour where the arm is going, and the arm is folded like so. And I'm gonna go for like I was going for like a mesh covering for the arm. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, add a bit of shadow here. And then as for back here, this is where I'm gonna go ahead and start applying that lace detail. I'm just going to borrow from here. I'm just going to select the lace detail only, and we'll use it to decorate the edge of the sleeve. So like this. So I'm going to copy that first, and then I'm gonna start by warping it in place. Lower the opacity so I can kind of see the curvature of the sleeve. So that's the first one. Second one, lower the opacity so that I can warp it once again in place. This one I'm gonna warp it like that. And then one more. It's going to be right on this side. Okay, so now that I've warped all of them in place, it's time to edit them in terms of lighting, because needs a bit of adjusting in terms of lighting. So I'm gonna start off by targeting the matching basically the light source like that, and then make it a little brighter in general, like so. And I'm going to just kind of add a bit of filler color. But kind of loses a bit of the detail, so I'm going to bring up that highlight and then I'm going to adjust the lighting here, bring it down. Let's make, ooh, the lace is a bit too, oh my gosh. It lagged for a second there and I was scared it was gonna crash. So that's the lace detail. Well, it's not as good as I thought it would be. I can go back in to attempt to adjust it. Adjust it to the sleeve here. Let's merge down real quick. And now that I have the lace applied, I'm going to go back in again. Actually, you know what? Before I move it around, I'm going to rotate the canvas again and see what's happening here. Okay. I think what I'll do is remove that part, and I'm going to cut this, oh hold on, cut this whole part off and readjust it. I like this much better, so I'm going to merge down. And also, before I do that, I'm going to imply a bit of translucency here. And we're just going to basically play up this theme here. Ooh, I don't think it looks very good. Let me do a bit of scribbling up here. Imply a bit of lace detail. Let's delete that part for now. Okay, and then let me go back here. Let me readjust this part here to match the lighting going on. I'm going to imply a bit of fingers here. She's got a bit of nails, although it's purple. I just want to put that there. Let's see. Well, I mean, it does imply it a bit, which is what I want. It's better than nothing. I'll just leave it there. So shabby. Okie dokie. Now onto this side. So I'll work on the sleeve on this side now. And I think this side will probably have a bit more highlight to it. First, I'm going to adjust the positioning. And is there a possibility of me using this? Oh, hold on. Let's go ahead and see what we could do here. Oh, wait. Copy. And I'm gonna put it on the other side. Okay. Yes, we can definitely reuse it. So that's a good thing because it will save time if I can reuse this. Yeah, it works, although it does look a little bit copy pasted, so we can adjust this. A little bit. So what I'll do is add a bit more highlight, since this whole bit is probably gonna be in highlight. So I just make it a little brighter, and then I'll go back in to add some slight shadow bit, and then on this part I'm just going to darken it quite a bit. And we'll do it like this. Change the lighting slightly, and go back here, clean it up, merge down, and then reposition this right here, bring it outward a bit more so that I can kind of follow along. So the elbow should be around here. But since I kind of changed this, I'm gonna flip her once again so that, you know, I can see whether or not. Okay, still looks okay, so okay. I'm saying that a lot. But yeah, just had to make sure that that part was reading okay, or that, you know, the change doesn't mess with the composition. So I'm thinking if I flip more often, I don't have nasty surprises later on, which would be very unfortunate and frustrating. So yeah. So I'm gonna apply the other arm, and I'll do this arm here. I mean, not arm, but like little pinkies. I think I can copy copy a bit of the fingers. Maybe bring this finger down, but like that's the pinky finger. I don't know, I just want to imply it. It's kind of drawn not too well, but this time I'm gonna focus on the general feel of it. Okay, maybe that part could be a little bit brighter. I'm going to add a bit of a yellow highlight undertone here. Make it a little brighter. Let's tone it down a bit. Tone it down now. Oh, okay. Let's go with that. I'm going to add a bit more highlight on this arm right here. Merge down, lock down the layer, and then let's do this. Oh, actually, let's do it this way. Go back to the bottom layer. Let's do that. Let's do this. I'm gonna try to do the opposite, basically. Have highlight where the shadow was, and vice versa. See if I can kind of taper it down into the background a bit. Let's merge down here. And I also want this lid to be tapered into the background as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So now that the sleeves are kind of done, I'm going to remove the foggy layer. And then we're gonna work on the drape now. So just going to blend some of this in. Now it's about shape and the coverage. So I want to make sure that the shape of the drape and what's shown contours the character. Maybe I need to bring this lower. Like that. Bring that lower. Make that a little darker. Bring this up. Add some highlight up there. Might need to redo this part. I'm trying to make sure it reads like heavy fabric, and I'm not into the way it's falling right now, so I'm going to, let me flip it a bit, flip. So I'm gonna be doing a little bit of a before and after every now and then. I mean, flip back and forth every now and then. Yeah, it's gonna take a while. So hopefully I will be able to make a nice cascading fabric-y look for her. I knew it. Okay. So this, the way it's drooped down, it's not reading as well, so I have to bring that back like that. Yep. Okay. Maybe, oh no, it's lagging. Maybe what I can do is bring this lower. Maybe if I drag it down a bit more, yeah, like that. And then reposition again. Let's go back to this. Let's remove that for now. I just want to make sure this part is good, so I'm going to darken that part. Go back here and basically paint on a bit of folds with the highlight going towards that way. Oops, that's a loss of pressure right there. And same for here. I just need to render this out a bit more, just like that side. Okay, so it's getting there. It's looking a little bit more balanced. Let me do auto. Oh my gosh, Photoshop. Well, I guess it's not enough contrast for Photoshop, so what I'll do is only select parts of it. So let's go ahead and make that part really bright. And then I'm guessing this part too, let's make it a little brighter. And I want to make it a little bit more on the yellow side. Okay, and then I'll just kind of tone it down a little bit. And once I do that, I have to do a bit of editing on the stocking here. So I'm gonna have to make sure, actually, or just make sure that part is a little bit darker so that, oh, hold on, so that this part would pop a bit more. Yeah. Merge down, go to the draping, make it a little brighter that way. And then I do this, the cascading fabric now. This part I think I can have some liberties with. So I'm just going to clean this up a bit and hopefully I'll be able to incorporate some of this lace detail after. But now I'm just kind of gonna play up the light source a bit more. Gonna try to basically keep what I had before. Yeah, play up what I had before, except just refining it a bit more. And also incorporating the background color a bit more too. Onto this side now. I'm gonna keep the bright highlight up here. And I'll just add some highlight down here too. And I'll keep it kind of dull like that, since I still want to sell the idea of it, that it's in the distance. But since it's quite plain, I need to incorporate a bit of the lace detail after. I just need it for that extra bit of detail so that it's not too empty and it's gonna look more interesting as well. Okay, so need to, yeah, that's fine. Need to add a bit of the underneath part. Let me remove that bit. Okay, so this is what we have now. I'm just curious. Let's see, auto contrast. Not really sure if it's better or not. Let me just save this for now. I'm gonna call this drape 2. And then I'm gonna go into the background because, you know, since there's quite a bit of intense lighting on the draping, the background might need to be darkened around those areas in order to sell that make the drape stand out a bit more on the top portion. So what I'll do is I'm just going to do multiply and just kind of darken the background a bit. Just a little bit, like that. So once I do that, it makes the drape highlight pop a bit more. So I go back here and I'm going to save real quick. I'm going to make that side also a little brighter. There we go. Welcome back, guys. Spend a bit more time on Lulu, especially on her face and accessories like her necklace, which was half painted, half photo collage, and kind of changed the angle of the face as well. So this was before, this is now. And I kind of move her down a bit too. Yeah, I was having a little bit of hard time with the face angle. I didn't really like what I had before, so I tested it out a bunch of times. Worked on the hair, which is using some hair textures and paint overs. Same with the pins, was half photo, half painting, and lots of reference using as well. I like to have my reference really close by. So yeah, let's proceed to work on the legs a little bit. So I wanted to do the whole belts wrapped around her leg kind of deal. So in this part, we are going to kind of just clean up the leg area because it does look a little messy. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that now. Okay, so the belts I had suggested that I was gonna use this as a base. So I'm gonna be working with this. I'm gonna put it right next to what I'm gonna use it for. So I'll be grabbing the texture for that. Let's go to the belt layer. So before I do that, I also wanted to add a very strong highlight on her leg. So I wanted to make sure this part of her leg was hitting highlight. I think it's going to create a bit more dynamic flow for the piece. So I'm just going to clean up this highlight. So let's say it looks like this. Probably make that side a little bit brighter and leave the leggings a bit less bright. So after I add that, I can proceed with the belts. So first belt's gonna be wrapped like this. And I'm just gonna find a belt that matches this idea. I think this one could work, so I'm just gonna copy it. And I'm going to put right on top of that guide I just did. And I'm just going to warp it into place. Delete, delete. I'm just going to adjust it a bit more. Let's adjust it a little bit like this. Next up, we can do this one. So this one is gonna be a little bit more free-flowing. It's gonna go in the back of the other leg. So it has to wrap around the leg a little better. And once again, I'm gonna look for one that sort of could work. I think this one could work. So we'll just copy that texture and match it to the rough guide that I have. I'm just going to clean up the texture while I'm at it. Maybe make it a little bit bigger and then merge down. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, so now that that's done, I finished 2 of them, so I'm going to copy both of them and adjust. So by doing this, I can, actually I might need to layer it. I'm just going to create a group. That way I can work on each part separately. And we're just let's go ahead and do that. And then for these ones, I'm just going to clean up the base that I have in mind. Let's go ahead and let's play around with the general flow of this one. I'm going for a spiral type um, composition for the belt. So now that I cleaned that up, just want to confirm, you know, bring back some of these layers just to, you know, making sure that it makes sense, that it works with this flow. There we go, finally moved. Okay. So basically we'll just do the same thing, and I'm going to grab this one because I think this is gonna work with this right here. So we'll just warp it into place once again, and we'll just repeat this process a few times. Okay, merge down, and then we need another one for this. This one is pretty slanted, so this might work well. Well, guess we won't be able to show very much of it, but it's okay, we just show a tiny bit of it. And I'm just going to add a tiny bit of detail over there, merge down, now onto this one right here. I guess this one, we'll use this one again. This is the closest I can find that's a little bit slanted. So we'll just use that one. And we'll just warp it into place. Clean it up now. Now time for this one right here. And I think I'll use this now. This one right here. And we'll just warp it into place once again. Adjust it into place. Alright, so I think I covered all of it. Yes, I did. That's good. So now, after that's done, I'm gonna merge everything together into one single layer because now comes the time to kind of do a bit of editing. Basically, I'm going to add some general lighting because we want it to match the background we have. So matching the general lighting of the background, a lot of light highlight needs to be added. This way it's going to help blend it in, and then add some shadow as well. Do it like that. Tone this down a bit. Create a new layer constraint down so that I can make some of these buckles pop. Let's go back to some of these areas and really emphasize on the lighting here. I think that should do it. Probably needs some one-off highlight around the very edge of the belt, as there is still a bit of lighting coming from above, so we want to get a bit of that. Oh, and I'm just going to slowly blend that in by erasing bits of it. So that's what we have for the belt. I'm going to merge it down, and then we'll do a little bit of a actually wait, let's tone this down a bit. And let's go to this part right here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm going to re-render this a bit. Since she's wearing boots, I believe, underneath there. And I will basically just try to blend this part in with the belt. Merge down. bit of highlight. This will surely make it a lot shinier. This is basically just to have some different material, which usually makes for a more interesting composition. So that is done. And I'm gonna go ahead and also readjust how bright this part is. So let's just tone it down a bit. Okay. And now what I'll do is I'm gonna copy that part and merge everything down into that one part so I can have like a before and after, and in case I want to go back basically. So the belt is kinda done-ish around here. There's still so much to do, so I'm gonna move on to this part. And now luckily these parts, since I want them to kind of be in the distance, I'm going to do the same thing. Warp it to that part. And since it's covered some parts, I don't have to render it out as much, hopefully. But basically, we just want to add these in as textures, and I'll fade it out later. Copy that. Next. Let's just use this. Use that as texture. I'm just gonna kind of interpret the rest below. Okay. So after that's done, what I'll do is I'm gonna create a new layer, and this layer is gonna be, I'm gonna brush on some of the background color on there just to dull out the belt texture, because I want to push it back into the background and not have it at the same intensity as the belts that I have up there. Actually, I should do this. Let's go over here. We're gonna work on that. I'm gonna name that fog, and then we'll continue on to here. So it's only a little bit of it, showing. So and just grab a tiny piece of that texture and add it. I can even reduce the opacity. Now onto this part. This part might be a little challenging, but let's go ahead and move our texture up here so I can have a look at this part. of the belt. So it's a little curved up. We're gonna wanna find one that's curved. This one. Mm. I'm just going to warp this. Actually, I might have to do it manually. I guess we'll keep it like a dark color belt. Have a bit of rim light here. And I probably could add a bit of buckle detail right here. We'll just add in that buckle detail. And add some highlights. And I want to see if I can make this part a little bit brighter. I need to think about framing the character as well in the background. So her ear is bright, so I can't really make that part brighter. Maybe I can warp this a bit. Brighten it up. Let's add some tiny detail on there. I think I'll actually move this way. And then we'll move on to this part of the belt. Darken that part up. Get a bit of the highlight. Add a bit of highlight on the bottom. Let me add a bit of a warmer tone. Add some intense highlight on the outer edge. And I'll just add buckle detail just to make it look more like a really, really long belt strap. Add a bit of shine throughout. Now onto this side, so we're gonna have a bit of a, make it a little bit thicker up here. Um, Actually, let me do it this way. This is gonna be kind of like a bit of a perspective, so it gets, let's say, a bit thicker in length up there. And also have to make sure that it looks like it fades into the background. So I'll just render it out a bit. Do some strap detail. Save. Make sure it's high in contrast. After that, just gonna go ahead and add a bit of detailing around this area, but it shouldn't matter too much because I'm gonna end up blurring it anyways, since I want to create a sense of distance. But yeah, let's see if it'll work. At least that's my plan. Let's put the buckle here. Let's kind of fade this part into the background a bit. And then, let me see if I can I think I might have to do this on a separate layer. Let me just make it darker. And then lighter. But yeah, the pins are kind of not very visible. I need to go back to the background and readjust it a bit. Hairpins. Go back to the hairpins and intensify them because otherwise they don't really show up in the small preview and they get lost in the background, so we want to make sure they are visible. So the belt is that layer belts are done, and then there's these. Maybe I'll do one like this. Just to have that detail. Might not look as good as I thought it would. I think I'll just leave it at that. And then just work on these, which I'm going to be copying. Copying from here, and I can just basically readjust it. Readjust it to fit, and then re-render it because it is definitely reading like a copy paste, and we want to fix that a bit. Let me just make it a little thinner. Alright guys, I flipped the canvas so that we can have a look at the general composition, and I think it actually looks decent. So what I'll do next is work on this side. So there should be another belt loop that goes this way. So I just warped it. I'm just gonna put those areas, make it being highlight. Maybe I need to reposition it. March down. Belt. Okay, next. Oh yeah, I experimented with the idea of a different arm pose. I might explore that, but I want to go back to the hair. So I kind of started painting a bit of the hair over here. I'm gonna work on this one. Now I just have to figure out where I'm going to position it and how. Maybe I can position it like this. So I think she's got four braids. Usually I only see her with like 3 of them that's showing, but based on the 2D avatar, it's 4. So we'll have 2 here and then maybe 2 in the background. And I want to make her braids relatively thick. So after I establish the base, I'll just go in and add that braid texture. And I'll just use a slightly different tone to create that texture down here, and just kind of do a bit of doodling. After that, we'll go in with the lasso tool to give it more form. Just gonna give it more of a braid texture. I could probably get away with, actually no, I shouldn't. I should do it all the way through. We'll just do it all the way down here. Let's do like little sections. So there we have one braid. Let me go over here real quick. She's got these beads decorations on her hair, so that's gonna be important to add in later. I'll just place it right next to her braids, and this is the color coordination actually this way. So we have my first braid done. I'm just gonna flip her again to ensure that it's not looking awkward. Okay, so that braid is looking good. This braid over here needs some work. Put it here. Just trying to figure out like a good flow for it. Maybe I'll put it like this. Wherever I position it, I'm trying to make sure that it at least shows up as much as possible against the rest of her. So I think here should be decent. I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in those little detail and increasing the brightness of the highlight down here, because this whole bit is gonna be highlighted, and then I'll just go back in and basically do what we did. Actually, I think I'll erase manually. Oh, oops. This might be faster. Okay, so now that this is done, I just want to make it a little bigger, a bit thicker. Darken it. It's lagging a little bit. I'm just going to highlight the very top of the braid. Make it bright. Let's go ahead and give it the tiny little ponytail hair. And then we'll do one, two, three. We'll do the beads. Don't have to be super detailed since not gonna be too visible anyways, so. And then we'll move on to this side. Oh god, why is it lagging? Okay, now I go back here. And that pulp area is gonna be bright. It's gonna catch the light. I'm just gonna go back in and bring back some of the textures. Let me merge down blue, purple, purple, and blue. There. So there's that. Oh, so the hair is relatively finished. I don't plan to make it too detailed. Maybe just the thicker parts of the braid. Just gonna add some additional shine to the braids. And basically also clean up the silhouette too. I think that should do it. Let's move on to this one and just add a little bit more detail. Gonna make a hair layer and we'll add some drop down shadow. The shadow is a little rough, but we're going to make it a little better later, so let's do it like this. I'm going to first kind of almost erase it and then blur it out, smudge it, I guess. Now, I need to go back to the smudge setting with the scatter on so that I can blend this out, erase it a bit. Add a bit more shadow. Probably should remove it down here. We'll have it up until there. Let's add the shadow till here. Shadow. Alright, save. So I did 2 hair ponytails or pigtails. I can have the rest in the background. I'll just have a touch of it. Just a sprinkle of hair in the background so that we know it's there. I'm going to be just kind of adjust the lighting for it a bit, just so you know so that it blends properly with the background. So that's one. We need another one. So come on, stop lagging. I think I can reuse this. We'll just have the ever so slightly sprinkle of it in the background. There we go. So we just need a touch of it. So the hair is done. Oh man, Lulu's got so much details. So basically what's left to do is work on her corset. Where is her bottom? Is here. Let's have a look. Okay, she's got a pretty basic shape corset finish. So I can go ahead and do that. This is gonna be the censored version. I'll just create some flare out boning for it. I'll do a little bit of a special variation. Special variation for the corset. I'll just align it. Corset and garter belt set. at the girdle belt, right at the hips. Basically just trying to, you know, this is like a slightly more covered up version. Not by much, but just a bit more. I'll probably give her slightly more coverage on the underwear too. Maybe I can do a belt here. Or just do it like this. And I'm gonna put this in the background. I'll put it in the background. So yeah, this will probably be the finished version plus a little bit more layering on, a bit more highlights and shadow, and that should be it. This piece is a little bit more complicated to work on since she's got like a billion details, a lot of details that needs to be interpreted and stuff. So yeah. Alright guys, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm really tired. I'm gonna finish the rest off camera. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next voiceover. Have a great day or night. Take care guys.